Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by asking you a simple but uncomfortable question. How many times have you stood at the edge of a new year, full of hope, full of promises, full of energy, only to find yourself months later wondering where that energy went? You promised yourself this year would be different. You said you would change your habits. You said you would focus on your goals. You said you would finally become the person you know you're capable of being. And yet life happened. Distractions happened, excuses happened, and suddenly another year quietly slipped by. Now listen to me very carefully, because what I am about to say may change the way you see 2026 forever. 2026 is not just another year. It is a mirror. It will not flatter you. It will not lie to you. It will simply reflect who you are willing to become. And if you stay with me until the end of this message, you will understand exactly why 2026 can become the year that separates your past from your future. Ladies and gentlemen, most people believe that time is the solution. They believe that if they just wait long enough, things will improve. That somehow the calendar will do the hard work for them. That January has magic and December has closure, but the truth is far more demanding. Time does not change lives. Time only reveals decisions. The same year that builds one person can break another. The same 12 months that create success for some become excuses for others. The difference is never the year. The difference is always the individual. We live in a world obsessed with motivation. Motivational videos, motivational speeches, but motivation alone has never built a great life, because motivation is emotional and emotions are unreliable. Some days you feel powerful. Some days you feel tired. Some days you feel inspired. Some days you feel lost. And if your future depends on how you feel, then your future will always be unstable. That is why this message is not about hype. It is not about temporary excitement. It is about clarity, responsibility, and disciplined decision making. And if you are willing to listen, not just with your ears, but with your mind, then this introduction alone may plant a seed that grows throughout the entire year. Ladies and gentlemen, here is a reality most people avoid. Every year you enter unprepared, you pay a price. You pay in stress, you pay in regret, you pay in unrealized potential. But every year you enter prepared, life pays you back. It pays you with confidence. It pays you with progress. It pays you with self-respect. And 2026 will make that exchange whether you're ready or not. Let me tell you why so many people fail, not in life, but in consistency. They aim too high emotionally. They promise too much verbally. They commit too little behaviorally. They declare goals without building systems. They desire change without embracing discomfort. They want results without respecting the process. And then they wonder why the year didn't work. But the year always works. It works perfectly. It works according to discipline. It works according to habit. It works according to effort. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine this for a moment. Imagine reaching the end of 2026 and realizing that you are more confident than you've ever been, more disciplined than you've ever been, more focused than you've ever been, not because life became easier, but because you became stronger. That transformation does not begin in December. It does not begin after failure. It begins now at the start with awareness, and awareness is why this introduction matters. Here's the truth. Most people never hear your life does not change in dramatic moments. It changes in quiet decisions. The decision to wake up when you don't feel like it, the decision to read instead of scroll, the decision to act instead of complain, the decision to take responsibility instead of blame. These decisions don't feel heroic. They don't look impressive on social media, but they compound, and by the time others notice, it's already too late to catch up. Ladies and gentlemen, 2026 will challenge you. It will test your patience. It will test your discipline. It will test your identity. There will be days you want to quit, days you question yourself, days you feel behind, and that is exactly why you must hear this message now, not later, because success does not belong to the strongest. It belongs to the most consistent. If you are still listening at this point, that tells me something important about you. It tells me you are searching for more than motivation. You are searching for direction. You are searching for control over your own life. And that means this message is for you. Stay with me, because what comes next will help you understand why most people repeat the same year again and again, why discipline matters more than talent, and how one clear decision in 2026 can alter the direction of your entire life. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not just a speech. This is an invitation to stop drifting, an invitation to stop waiting, an invitation to step into 2026 with intention, because the future does not belong to the lucky. It belongs to those who decide. A new year arrives quietly. There is no announcement in the sky, no voice telling you this is your moment, no guarantee that anything will improve. The calendar changes, but life waits. And this is where most people get confused. They believe a new year brings new results, but years don't change results, choices do. You can step into 2026 carrying the same habits, the same mindset, the same excuses, and the year will simply continue the story you've already been writing, because time has no power of its own. Time only magnifies direction. Every year asks the same silent question. Who have you decided to become? Not who you wish to become, not who you talk about becoming, but who your daily decisions say you are. That's why some people grow every year, while others repeat the same struggles with a new calendar. The difference is not intelligence. It's not talent. It's not luck. The difference is decision. Most people delay decisions. They wait for confidence. They wait for clarity. They wait for the right time. But clarity comes after decision. Confidence comes from action. And the right time is almost always now. A decision is a line you draw between your past and your future. Once drawn, life changes how it responds to you. Here's something important to understand. When you haven't decided, you drift. When you drift, life decides for you. Your schedule decides. Your environment decides. Other people decide. And drifting feels safe until years pass and nothing changes. But the moment you decide, something shifts internally. You stop asking, should I? You start asking, how will I? That shift is powerful. A real decision is not emotional, doesn't scream. It doesn't seek attention. A real decision is calm, firm, and final. It says, I no longer negotiate with this habit. I no longer tolerate this behavior. I no longer delay this responsibility. And once a decision is made, discipline becomes possible. Because discipline is not about willpower, it's about identity. You don't force yourself to act. You act because this is who you've decided to be. Let me tell you something honest. The moment you decide to change, life will resist you. Old habits will fight back. Comfort will call your name. Fear will present logical excuses. This is not a sign to stop. This is proof your decision is real. Every meaningful decision demands discomfort up front, but it pays freedom later. And most people quit because they mistake resistance for failure. But resistance is simply the cost of growth. A new year does not erase old habits. If it did, everyone would succeed. Habits only change when decisions are reinforced daily. One workout doesn't create health. One focused hour doesn't create success. One good choice doesn't transform a life. But one clear decision followed consistently changes everything because consistency compounds. Imagine two people entering 2026. One hopes the year will be better. The other decides to become better. Same year, different outcomes. Hope waits. Decision moves. Hope talks. Decision acts. Hope looks for motivation. Decision builds discipline. And by the end of the year, one wonders what happened. The other knows exactly why it worked. The most dangerous phrase in personal growth is, I'll decide later. Later becomes weeks. Weeks become months. Months become years. And one day, later becomes regret, not because you failed, because you never decided. So as you stand at the beginning of 2026, ask yourself, what decision am I avoiding? What habit am I protecting? What responsibility am I postponing? Because that one avoided decision is costing you more than you think. Energy leaks there. Focus leaks there. Potential leaks there. Here is the truth. Whether it's comfortable or not, your life in December 2026 will be the direct result of decisions you make now and decisions you refuse to make. The year will not rescue you, it will reflect you. And if you want a different reflection, you must choose differently. Don't ask 2026 to be kind to you, ask yourself to be disciplined. Don't ask the year for motivation. Ask yourself for commitment, because the moment you decide, truly decide, life begins to rearrange itself around that decision. Opportunities appear, energy aligns, momentum builds. Not because the year changed, but because you did. Here's a truth many of us avoid facing. Most people enter a new year exactly the way they entered the previous one. Think about it. How many times have you promised yourself, this year will be different? I will finally achieve my goals. I will finally change. And yet, when December comes, you realize nothing has really changed. The same habits remain, the same excuses remain, the same results remain. Why does this happen? It's not because they lack dreams. It's not because they lack talent. It's not because the world is against them. It happens because people approach the new year the same way they approached last year, with hope, not with strategy, with wishful thinking, not with deliberate action. Hope is good. I'm not saying hope is bad. Hope is the spark. Hope gives energy. Hope makes people believe a better life is possible, but hope alone does not build results. It does not pay bills. It does not create discipline. It does not change habits. Most people fail because they confuse hope with preparation. They enter a new year hoping that circumstances will magically improve. They hope that motivation will appear. They hope that opportunity will knock. But life doesn't work that way. Time does not fix bad habits. Motivation does not correct poor planning. Waiting does not create success. Most people enter the year with intentions, not decisions. Intentions are like balloons. They float fragile, waiting for a breeze. Decisions are like anchors. They ground you, force you to act, and create momentum. When you enter 2026 without making real decisions, you are essentially asking, please, life, make this year different for me without me having to change. And life answers in its quiet, relentless way, I will reflect exactly what you bring to me. Now think about how people plan their year. They write lists. They declare grand goals. But most resolutions fail within the first month. Why? Because resolutions are surface-level promises. They are statements of desire. They are not backed by daily action, accountability, or consistency. In other words, people start the year excited, but they don't start it prepared. Preparation is the difference between hope and achievement. Here's another truth most people avoid: comfort is the enemy of progress. When people enter a new year, they carry with them old habits, old routines, and old excuses. They carry the same fears, the same procrastination, the same patterns that kept them stagnant in 2025. And why? Because change is uncomfortable. They want the result without the process. They want the reward without the discipline. They want a new year without a new effort. And so the year unfolds predictably. Let me ask you something. If you do the same things you did in 2025, how can you expect 2026 to be any different? It is impossible. Nature has a rule: your results mirror your actions, not your wishes. You cannot harvest apples if you keep planting the same seeds that gave you oranges. You cannot expect growth if you keep nurturing the same habits that produce stagnation. You cannot expect abundance if you keep tolerating the same excuses that produced lack. Most people also underestimate the power of environment and influence. They enter the new year believing that willpower alone will carry them forward, but willpower is finite. Motivation is fleeting. Your environment and the people around you shape your actions more than your intentions ever could. If you enter 2026 surrounded by distraction, negativity, or complacency, guess what? You will leave 2026 exactly where you are now, or worse. If you want a different year, you must enter a different environment. You must surround yourself with people who elevate you, habits that grow you, and routines that push you forward. So why do most people repeat the same year? Because they never confront reality. They avoid asking tough questions. What patterns from last year are holding me back? What excuses am I still believing? What habits must I abandon? And what habits must I embrace? Who do I need to become to get the results I want? Without confronting these questions, 2026 will be no different from 2025. But here's the good news: it doesn't have to be this way. You can enter 2026 intentionally. You can step in with decisions, not hope. You can start with clarity, not confusion. You can choose discipline over comfort, action over delay, responsibility over excuses. If you do, you will not just enter a new year. You will enter a new life, because 2026 does not reward wishful thinking. It rewards discipline. It rewards those who decide to grow, no matter how small the first step. Ladies and gentlemen, if you watch this year unfold without changing your approach, it will feel familiar, predictable, safe, and ultimately unfulfilled. But if you change your mindset, habits, and decisions, 2026 will feel alive, full of opportunity, full of growth, full of transformation. Most people enter a new year expecting miracles. Few enter a new year expecting responsibility. Miracles are rare. Responsibility is powerful. If you choose responsibility today, 2026 will respond. It will mirror the effort you put in. It will amplify the discipline you embrace. It will reflect the decisions you refuse to postpone. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the secret why most people enter the new year the same way they entered the last one, and why you don't have to. 2026 can be different. It will be different, but only if you enter it with intention, courage, and clarity. Discipline is not dramatic. It doesn't shout. It doesn't demand attention. It doesn't look impressive on social media. Most people misunderstand success because they expect it to arrive with noise, flashy results, sudden breakthroughs, instant recognition. But the reality is far quieter, far simpler, and far more powerful. Discipline is consistent. Discipline is invisible in the moment, but unstoppable over time. It is the small choices you make every day when no one is watching that shape the trajectory of your life. Consider this for a moment. Reading 10 pages a day might seem insignificant. Saving a small amount of money each week might feel like nothing. Waking up 30 minutes earlier to focus on your growth may feel like a sacrifice with no immediate reward. And yet, if you repeat these small actions daily, year after year, they compound into results that are nothing short of extraordinary. This is the quiet power of discipline. It works silently until one day you look around and realize your life is transformed. You don't even remember the exact moment it happened. You only notice the difference. Daily discipline is not about perfection. It's about persistence. It's not about doing everything right. It's about doing something consistently. One disciplined action repeated over months builds momentum. 10 disciplined actions repeated over months build habits, and habits repeated over years create character, wealth, health, and freedom. Success is rarely a sudden leap. It is the accumulation of small, consistent choices that build a foundation strong enough to support greatness. The problem is most people want the results without the work. They look for shortcuts, hacks, or quick fixes. They ignore the daily actions that actually matter. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect motivation. But discipline doesn't wait. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't care how you feel. Discipline moves quietly, steadily, and unrelentingly, and it will eventually pass anyone who refuses to start. Imagine two people with equal talent. One works consistently every day, following small routines that align with their goals. The other works sporadically, waiting for motivation, inspiration, or opportunity. By the end of the year, the difference is staggering. The first person has built momentum, confidence, and measurable results. The second person has wasted time and energy still hoping the future will bring change without effort. Daily discipline is what separates them. Discipline is not glamorous. It is often invisible, boring, and repetitive, but it has the power to turn ordinary people into extraordinary ones. A single choice may seem small today. Waking up early, writing a page, exercising, learning, saving, meditating, these choices appear insignificant in isolation. But the consistency of these choices is what multiplies their impact. Every time you repeat a small, disciplined action, you are making a deposit into the bank of your future. And compound interest is real. In the right environment, it becomes unstoppable. Discipline also teaches patience. It shows that meaningful results are not immediate. They require endurance, time, and persistence. When you embrace daily discipline, you learn to value process over instant gratification. You understand that great results are earned, not given. And this understanding changes everything. It shifts your focus from what feels good today to what will serve you tomorrow. It shifts your energy from distraction to action. It shifts your mindset from hope to certainty. The most disciplined people are not perfect. They fail, they stumble, and they have bad days, but they never quit. They return to their routines. They recommit. They continue the process. No matter how small the steps seem, discipline is not about perfection. It's about consistency over time. Even when you don't feel like it, even when the world seems against you, even when results are invisible. That is why daily discipline is far more important than talent, luck, or opportunity. Because the person with discipline eventually creates results that no one else can match. This is the quiet power that changes lives. Reading 10 pages a day eventually builds wisdom and insight. Exercising regularly eventually builds health and energy. Saving a small amount consistently eventually builds financial freedom. Writing 1 page every day eventually builds mastery and confidence. None of it happens overnight, but all of it happens if you refuse to skip the small steps. Success is invisible in the moment. It is invisible in the early days of discipline. But one day, without warning, the impact of those daily choices becomes undeniable. Life changes, habits shape destiny, actions compound into results, and then you realize it was never magic, luck, or sudden opportunity. It was simply discipline applied consistently, quietly every single day. If 2026 is going to change your life, it will not be because of motivation. It will not be because of a lucky opportunity. It will not be because the calendar changed. It will be because you embraced the quiet power of daily discipline, the small, consistent actions that others ignore, the routines that feel boring, the habits that feel insignificant. Those who understand the secret will step into the new year ahead of everyone else. They will be prepared. They will have momentum. And they will create results that others only dream about. Discipline may be quiet, but its impact is unstoppable. Start small. Start today. Repeat daily. And by the end of 2026, the results will speak louder than any motivational speech ever could. Everything in life grows from small beginnings. Most people are waiting for big opportunities, big breakthroughs, or big inspirations. They imagine that success is a dramatic moment, a sudden change, a magical event, a lucky break. But that's not how life works. Life responds to the accumulation of small, consistent choices, repeated day after day. Every great achievement, every successful person, every extraordinary life started with a single decision, a small choice that seemed almost insignificant at the time. Think about it. The person who is financially free today did not get there with one massive investment. They got there with consistent small decisions, saving a little each month, learning about money, investing patiently, and resisting the temptation to spend recklessly. The person in peak health did not achieve it by running a marathon once. They did it by choosing movement, nutrition, and discipline every single day. The person who mastered a skill did not wake up one morning knowing everything. They learned bit by bit, practicing consistently, improving slightly, repeating, failing, adjusting, and persisting. The difference between those who succeed and those who stay average is not talent. It is the power of small choices. Here's a truth that most people ignore. Small choices matter more than big decisions. Big decisions are rare, dramatic, and exciting. But big decisions alone rarely create results because they are often not followed by action. Small choices, on the other hand, are subtle, almost invisible, but they compound over time. One small choice may feel meaningless today. One small step may feel insignificant. One small habit may feel boring, but repeated consistently, these small things multiply into massive results that surprise even the person making them. Take a moment to consider the math of life. If you improve just 1% every day for a year, the results are astonishing. Not 10%, but 1%, a single percent compounded every day leads to more than 37 times improvement by the end of the year. Now imagine if someone neglects 1% every day. By the end of the year, they will have moved backward almost the same amount. Small choices are like invisible seeds. Plant them wisely, water them consistently, and eventually they grow into trees. Plant them carelessly, ignore them, and the weeds of regret take over. Most people focus on instant gratification. They make one good choice today, then fall back into old habits tomorrow. They ignore the small actions that could change everything because the results are not immediate. This is the trap. Life does not reward drama, it rewards consistency. Life does not reward intention alone. It rewards execution over time. Small choices may feel boring, but they are the true engines of transformation. Even in relationships, careers, or personal growth, the principle is the same. A kind word today, a smile shared, a promise kept, a lesson learned, a page read. These are small choices. On their own, they seem minor, but compounded over weeks, months, and years, they define the quality of your life, your influence, and your character. Small choices are the currency of success. Every habit, every discipline, every act of integrity, every commitment begins as a small choice. Here's why most people fail. They underestimate the power of small choices. They look for miracles. They wait for big changes. They believe that massive action is required to produce results. But massive action without daily small steps is chaotic, unsustainable, and often wasted. Massive results always come from small actions done consistently, intelligently, and patiently. Let's make this personal. Ask yourself, what small choices am I making every day? Am I choosing distraction over focus? Am I choosing comfort over growth? Am I choosing excuses over responsibility? Every yes or no decision matters. Every little choice is a brick in the building of your future. The most successful people in the world are not superhuman. They are ordinary people who mastered the art of small choices. They do what others ignore. They start when others procrastinate. They persist when others quit. They understand that a single small action repeated consistently is more powerful than 1,000 big actions attempted randomly. Here's the challenge. Take a small, disciplined action today. Repeat it tomorrow. Repeat it the next day. Do it for a month. Do it for a year. The result will astound you. It may not feel dramatic at first. It may feel insignificant. But one day, without warning, you will look around and realize your life has transformed. That's the power of small choices. That's how ordinary people become extraordinary. That's how a single year can redefine your life. If you respect the quiet, consistent steps, if 2026 is going to be your turning point, it will not happen through luck. It will not happen through motivation. It will happen because of small, intentional choices made consistently without fail day after day. Your success, your health, your wealth, your happiness, they all grow from these small seeds. Plant them wisely, nurture them diligently, and watch your life change in ways you never imagined. Small choices create massive results. It's simple, it's quiet, and it's unstoppable. One of the most common complaints people have is, I don't have enough time. It's said over and over like a mantra. The truth is everyone has the same 24 hours each day. The difference is not in time, it is in direction. Time is constant. It does not increase or decrease for anyone. You cannot make more of it. You cannot borrow it from tomorrow. You cannot negotiate with it. What you can do is decide where to direct it, and that is what separates those who succeed from those who drift. The problem is not time scarcity. The problem is lack of focus and clarity. Most people treat time like a river that sweeps them along. They allow distractions, interruptions, and obligations to set their course. By the end of the day, they wonder, where did all my hours go? How did nothing get done? Direction is the compass that turns time into results. Without it, the hours pass, the days blend together, and the year ends with little to show for it. Consider this: a ship can have the fastest engines, the largest sails, and the strongest crew, but if it has no destination, it will drift endlessly at sea. Your life is the same. Talent, intelligence, and effort are powerful, but without direction, they will not carry you forward. Direction focuses effort. Direction magnifies energy. Direction converts hours into progress. Clarity is the first step to direction. Ask yourself, what exactly do I want to achieve this year? What kind of person do I want to become? Which areas of my life are non-negotiable for growth? Once clarity exists, decision becomes easier. Once decision exists, discipline becomes possible. And once discipline exists, progress is inevitable. Time alone will not solve anything. But when you align your hours, your days, and your habits with your purpose, time works for you, not against you. Most people waste time because they confuse activity with productivity. They stay busy but go nowhere. They fill their schedules with noise, meetings, distractions, and obligations, thinking it will get them closer to their goals. But motion is not progress. Doing a lot does not equal achieving a lot. The secret is focus. The secret is alignment. The secret is asking, which actions today will move me toward the life I want to live tomorrow? Direction also requires saying no. Every yes comes at a cost. Every commitment consumes time and energy. If you say yes to everything, you will never have the focus to say yes to what matters most. High achievers understand this principle. They say no to distractions, no to unimportant obligations, no to comfort, and yes only to actions that align with their purpose. Time is the same for everyone, but the way it is used is vastly different. Another truth often ignored is that most people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can achieve in a year. 1 hour wasted is 1 hour gone. 1 hour invested with clarity and purpose multiplies into results far beyond imagination. Small, purposeful actions aligned with direction create compounding success. One day's work may seem small, but over weeks and months, it creates momentum that is unstoppable. Think about your biggest goals and dreams. Do they require more time, or do they require better decisions about how to use the time you already have? Most people keep looking for shortcuts, hacks, or extra hours. But the real power lies in channeling the hours you already possess into meaningful, deliberate action. Time is a tool. Direction is the skill to use that tool. Without direction, the best tool is useless. Direction also demands reflection. Every week, every month, every quarter, you must pause and ask, am I heading toward my goals or just moving in circles? Are my daily actions aligned with my ultimate vision? Which choices are accelerating me and which are slowing me down? Those who succeed consistently make reflection a habit. They course correct before it's too late. Those who drift early pause and eventually wonder why time slipped away. Ultimately, 2026 will not give you more time. You cannot force the year to slow down. You cannot borrow hours from tomorrow. You cannot postpone life and still expect results. What you can do is take control of where your energy and focus go. You don't need to work harder. You need to work smarter with purpose. You don't need more hours. You need better direction. You don't need to be busier. You need to be intentional. The people who accomplish extraordinary things in a year are not superheroes. They are ordinary people who learn to steer their 24 hours with precision, purpose, and discipline. They understand that every minute counts. They understand that small decisions about focus, priorities, and habits determine the outcome of the entire year. And when these small, purposeful actions compound over 365 days, the results are astonishing. If 2026 is going to change your life, it will not be because time magically expanded. It will be because you chose direction over distraction, purpose over chaos, and clarity over confusion. Time is constant, direction is power, use it wisely, and the year will reward you beyond imagination. By now, you have heard the truths about time, decisions, disciplines, small choices, and focus. You have seen why most people enter a new year the same way they entered the last one. You have understood that transformation does not happen magically, it happens quietly, patiently, and deliberately. But here is the final and most important point. If you stay until the end, if you commit fully to what you've learned, you will know exactly what to do in 2026. Most people never reach this point. They listen for a moment, feel inspired, then forget the lesson the next day. They wait for a miracle, a sign, or motivation to arrive. They hope for answers without doing the work. The truth is, simple answers are not given, they are earned. And the process of listening, learning, reflecting, and deciding is what prepares you for the life-changing choices you must make. 2026 will not wait for you to figure it out. It will arrive whether you are ready or not. It will challenge you whether you are prepared or not. It will reward you, but only if you have the clarity, courage, and commitment to act. By staying the course, by paying attention to the principles we have discussed, by internalizing them and applying them, you will no longer drift into the year aimlessly. You will step into it with a plan, with direction, and with confidence. Here is what that looks like in practical terms. Clarity on your goals. You will know exactly what you want to achieve this year because you have reflected honestly on where you are, what has held you back, and what is truly important. No vague wishes, no fleeting resolutions, only specific goals grounded in reality, a plan of action. You will know the small steps you must take daily. You will understand that transformation is the result of repeated, disciplined action over time. You will have a roadmap, not just a dream, prioritization. You will know what deserves your focus and what does not. You will understand that energy spent on distractions is energy stolen from your success. You will know how to say no to the unimportant and yes to the essential. Commitment to growth. You will understand that discomfort is the price of progress. You will embrace the hard work, the small sacrifices, and the daily effort required to achieve extraordinary results. Confidence in your ability to succeed. By staying and learning the lessons, you gain the clarity and tools to act decisively. No more hesitation, no more confusion. You step into 2026 knowing that every choice, every action, and every habit matters. Staying until the end is not just about listening. It is about internalizing and applying. Inspiration alone will not change your life. Motivation alone will not carry you through. It is the combination of insight, decision, and deliberate action that creates transformation. The people who achieve greatness are not necessarily more talented, smarter, or luckier. They are the ones who commit to the process, stay consistent, and act on what they learn. By the time you reach the end of this journey, you will have clarity, tools, and understanding. You will no longer need to wonder, what should I do this year? Where should I focus my time? How do I make this year count? The answers will be in front of you. The path will be clear. The action plan will be actionable. Here is another truth. 26 will not give you excuses. It will mirror the preparation, decisions, and discipline you bring into it. If you stay until the end and take this seriously, you will be ready. You will step into the year with purpose, intent, and momentum. You will know how to create growth, wealth, health, and success, not because it is easy, but because you have equipped yourself with the knowledge, habits, and mindset necessary to achieve it. This is the power of commitment. This is the power of patience. This is the power of following through. By committing fully to this message, you gain a roadmap for life. A roadmap that does not promise instant success, a roadmap that does not promise comfort, a roadmap that promises results to those willing to act daily with discipline, clarity, and focus. The transformation does not happen magically on January 1st. It happens each day that you make a decision and follow through, every small choice that aligns with your goal, every moment you refuse to settle for mediocrity. When you understand this principle, the fear of a new year disappears, the uncertainty fades. You no longer wait for luck, for motivation, or for opportunity. You create your future. By the end of this message, here's what you will know: what habits to keep and which to eliminate, how to structure your days for maximum impact, how to focus your energy on what truly matters, how to use the principle of small, consistent choices to achieve massive results, how to make decisions that compound over time and produce the life you want. You will not be drifting, you will not be drifting, you will not be hoping, you will be acting deliberately and consistently. If you stay until the end, one truth will be undeniable: 2026 will respond to your preparation, your choices, and your discipline. It will not reward laziness, it will not reward wishful thinking, it will reward clarity, commitment, and consistency. And that is the ultimate lesson. You do not need more time. You do not need luck. You do not need a perfect year. You need understanding. You need direction. You need action. If you stay until the end, you will know exactly what to do. And when you act, the year will finally begin to work for you, not against you.